Hey there, Roothaven Grounds family. Let me tell you about a game-changing discovery that completely transformed how I approach winter gardening. For years, I was that gardener who'd spend the first warm days of spring frantically preparing beds, cursing myself for not getting ahead during the quiet months. Sound familiar? Well, what if I told you that winter isn't downtime at all, but actually the secret weapon for your most successful growing season yet? The shortcut I'm talking about is called lasagna gardening, also known as sheet composting, and when you do it in winter, magic happens. This isn't just another composting method, it's a strategic approach that turns those cold, dormant months into your hardest working garden prep period. While you're cozied up inside, nature is literally building you the richest, most fertile soil you've ever grown in. Here's the thing most gardeners don't realize. Winter offers something that no other season can give you. Time. Not just time for you to relax, but time for your garden beds to undergo a complete transformation without any effort on your part. When you layer organic materials in your raised beds during fall and winter, you're essentially setting up a slow cooker situation where decomposition happens at the perfect pace. During winter, the freeze-thaw cycles actually work in your favor. When water freezes, it expands, breaking down organic matter into smaller pieces. When it thaws, microbial activity kicks in, even at cooler temperatures. This natural process creates an incredibly rich growing medium that would take you months of active composting to achieve during warmer seasons. Plus, any weed seeds that might be lurking in your materials get naturally cold stratified or broken down, meaning fewer weeds come spring. The real beauty is that you're working with nature's timeline instead of against it. Spring always arrives faster than we expect, and suddenly you're racing to get beds ready while also trying to start seeds and plan your garden. By using winter as your prep season, you're walking into spring with beds that are fluffy, fertile, and completely ready to plant. Let me walk you through exactly how to build these magical layers. Think of it like making an actual lasagna. You're alternating between carbon-rich brown materials and nitrogen-rich green materials, creating the perfect environment for decomposition. Start by laying down a layer of cardboard or several sheets of newspaper directly on top of your existing soil. This base layer serves multiple purposes. It smothers any remaining weeds, creates a barrier that prevents new weeds from germinating, and eventually breaks down to add even more organic matter to your soil. Make sure to overlap the edges by at least 6 inches, and wet everything thoroughly. This moisture is crucial because dry cardboard will actually repel water and slow down the decomposition process. Next, add your brown layer. This is where you'll use materials like shredded leaves, straw, wood chips, or even torn-up paper bags. Aim for about 4 to 6 inches of brown material. I know what you're thinking, that seems like a lot. But here's the secret. This layer is going to compress significantly over winter, sometimes by as much as half. What looks like an overstuffed bed in November will be perfectly settled by March. Now for the green layer. This includes materials like kitchen scraps, coffee grounds, grass clippings if you have any, or even manure if you can source it. Spread about 2 to 3 inches of green material over your browns. The key ratio you're aiming for is roughly 2 parts brown to 1 part green. Though winter composting is forgiving, the cold temperatures prevent the smell issues you might get with too much nitrogen-rich material in summer. Keep alternating these layers until your raised bed is full, ending with a brown layer on top. This final brown layer acts as insulation and prevents any potential odors from kitchen scraps. Water each layer as you go. Everything should be as moist as a wrung-out sponge. Not all materials are created equal when it comes to winter bed building, and I've learned this through some trial and error. Shredded leaves are absolute gold. They break down beautifully over winter and add incredible tilth to your soil. If you can get your hands on your neighbor's bagged leaves, you've hit the jackpot. Run them through a mulching mower first if possible, as smaller pieces decompose faster. Coffee grounds from your local coffee shop are another fantastic resource. Most places are happy to give them away, and they're perfectly pH balanced for most vegetables despite their acidic reputation. Plus, worms absolutely love them, and attracting worms to your beds is always a win. Here's a material I've become obsessed with. Wood chips from arborists. Now, I know the internet is full of warnings about wood chips stealing nitrogen from your soil, but that's only an issue when you mix them directly into your soil. Layered on top and given all winter to start breaking down, they become an incredible mulch that feeds your beds slowly over time. Just make sure you're getting hardwood chips rather than treated lumber. That's a crucial distinction. One material to avoid is anything diseased. If you had blight on your tomatoes or fungal issues on your squash, those plant materials should not go in your winter layers. While many pathogens break down during hot composting, the slower, cooler decomposition in winter beds might not kill everything. It's just not worth the risk. The absolute best time to start this process is mid to late fall, ideally 6 to 8 weeks before your first hard freeze. This gives the bottom layers a chance to start breaking down while you can still add more materials on top. But honestly, as long as the ground isn't completely frozen and you can still work in your beds, you can start this process. I've had success starting as late as January in my zone. The key is understanding that the earlier you start, the more decomposed everything will be by spring planting time. If you start in late fall, you might have beds that are ready to plant directly into come spring. Start in January, and you might need to wait a few extra weeks or plant into pockets of finished compost, while the rest continues breaking down. Hey, don't worry if your beds don't look picture perfect by spring. Even if the material is only partially decomposed, it's still super beneficial for your soil, and you can always just push aside any larger pieces when you're ready to plant. Nature, she works on her own schedule, and honestly, that's totally okay. So, when spring finally rolls around and you pull back that top layer of browns, you're honestly going to be amazed. The soil underneath is going to be dark, crumbly, and just absolutely teeming with life. You'll probably spot earthworms everywhere, and that's exactly what you want to see. These little engineers have been busy all winter, pulling organic matter down into the soil and leaving behind their incredibly rich castings. The texture of your soil will have completely transformed, trust me. Where you might have started with compacted clay or maybe sandy, nutrition-poor soil, you'll now have loamy, easy-to-work soil that drains well but also holds onto moisture. Your fingers will just sink right into it, and your plant's roots will do the same. You might notice, though, that your bed level has dropped quite a bit. This is totally normal, and actually a really good sign. It means everything has decomposed and integrated right into the soil. You can always add more compost on top or just keep building more lasagna layers each fall and winter. The beauty of this winter shortcut is that it scales perfectly to your situation. Got 10 raised beds? Great, do them all. Only have 2? That's perfect too. Even a single small raised bed transformed this way will show you such dramatic results that you'll want to expand the practice. If you're working with brand new raised beds, this method is even more powerful. Instead of spending hundreds of dollars filling them with purchased soil, you can fill them about 3/4 of the way with these layered materials, top with a few inches of finished compost, and let winter do the rest. By spring, you'll have beds full of incredible soil that cost you almost nothing beyond a little time and effort. And for those of you in extremely cold climates where everything freezes solid for months, don't worry. The decomposition simply slows down and then picks up again during thaws and in early spring. You might just need to start your layers a bit earlier in fall to make sure everything has enough time to break down before planting. Honestly, this winter shortcut has completely changed how I approach gardening. Instead of dreading the spring rush, I now look forward to it because I know my beds are ready and waiting. Instead of seeing winter as a time when nothing happens in the garden, I see it as the season when the most important work is being done by nature herself. The first time you plant into a bed that's been building all winter, you'll understand why I'm so passionate about sharing this method. The way seedlings take off, the vibrant green of the leaves, the way plants seem to resist pests and diseases better, it all comes back to that incredible living soil you've created. So, here's my challenge to you. Pick at least one raised bed and try this method this winter. Document it with photos, keep notes on what materials you used, and watch the transformation happen. Then come spring, share your results with us here at Roothaven Grounds. I promise you, this is one shortcut that doesn't cut any corners. It actually gives you something better than the long way around. If you found this guide helpful, don't keep it to yourself. Subscribe to Roothaven Grounds for more real-world gardening wisdom that actually works, and share this with your fellow gardeners who are always looking for ways to work smarter, not harder. Drop a comment telling me what materials you have available for your winter layers, and let's learn from each other's experiences. Together, we're building not just better gardens, but a community of growers who understand that sometimes the best action is setting things up and letting nature do what she does best. Happy layering, friends!